Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Anime Movie Podcast. We are your hosts. I'm Joe Welke.
I'm Kat Hamilton.
And today we're doing a shorty one, a little short film for you. We're doing a short film called Call Me Tonight by Tatsuya Okamoto, which is a 1986 short anime movie, about a half hour long. And it's wild. This is a ride.
It is a ride. It's everything I was hoping it to be and more.
Yeah.
Has this director done anything else?
I tried to see on Wikipedia, and he doesn't have links to his own personal Wikipedia page, so I'm going to guess no.
Really? And like the IMDb didn't come up with anything?
Not that I could see.
All right.
I mean, I looked it up on Wikipedia, and usually they're pretty good about that kind of stuff. Like if he directed anything else, but no, he's kind of not famous, I don't think.
So
watch him like directed fucking Akira or something. No, he's just done like a couple of other like it looks like anime episodes or
any animes that are recognizable?
No. There's one called Bastard with 2 exclamation points.
That's perfect. Anime loves that word.
Yeah.
There must be a word in Japanese that translates well to bastard and doesn't translate well to other words that we have that are derogatory, because it's so frequent in anime.
Yeah. Bastards.
But we found this film because Joe and I were talking about doing, some more short films. And this just came up on a list. And essentially the description of this film is that there is there is a man with a problem. A young man who has a problem that when he gets turned on, he turns into a demonic monster of some kind.
Yes.
Maybe it's a yokai. Maybe it's a mononoke. I don't know. It's something supernatural and scary and tentacly. And there is a girl who works at a
phone sex hotline. Yeah.
Phone sex hotline girl who's trying to help him with his problem.
Yeah. And I don't know. It's like I read the synopsis of the movie and I was like, this sounds hilarious. And it is pretty funny. It's a horror comedy, romantic comedy.
It's got some strong teen rom-com feels, but also like softcore hentai.
Yeah.
I got really worried because I was like, wait, is this actually a hentai? For a couple of moments.
Well, we've been wanting to review a hentai. We're veering into that lane. The anime hentai podcast coming soon. Sign up for our Patreon or something.
That'd be amazing. Yeah.
That'd be hilarious.
Patreon,
our OnlyFans. We review hentai on OnlyFans.
Man, I'd blush so much. It'd get really funny.
What are you cranking your op to? But when this guy cranks his amp, he turns into a demon.
Yeah. So, I mean, it seems a little bit silly to have a spoiler section or non-spoiler section, but I still think,
Yeah, it's because, if you didn't want to get spoiled and you just wanted to hear like what it's about, we got you covered. It's about a guy that when he gets aroused, he turns into a demon, and then there's a phone sex operation lady that's trying to help him with that problem. I mean, it doesn't get more clear cut than that.
Sure.
But then things go awry. Hence the plot of the story.
Yeah.
Which we will not spoil.
Plots happen.
Which we will not spoil.
I mean, it's super 80s.
Yeah, for sure.
Hairstyles, the animation style.
Music.
Yeah, I mean, if you've seen any animes from the 1980s, the style is super similar. A lot of the features are kind of more squished into the bottom third of the face. The foreheads are bigger. Eyes are a little bit smaller. I assume this was all hand drawn.
Yeah, I mean, it came out July of 1986, so I would assume that CGI wasn't like running rampant back then.
Yeah.
And it's pretty short too. You know, it's a half hour ish. So It's not like, well, like I've never animated anything, so I can't be like, it's not that hard to animate. But it's much simpler than a full length movie, I would assume.
Sure. But I thought the animation was fairly smooth for old animation.
Yeah, it didn't have any of that like old time, like anime in the 80s. They have like just crazy amounts of flashing.
Yeah.
There wasn't that much of that in this.
There wasn't too
which
much
was
flashing.
nice.
And some of the music was kind of like MIDI synth, which is to be expected.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I never thought that it was wild
Yeah.
and crazy.
Yeah, I mean, going into it, you know what you're getting into. It's
Sure.
like we read the synopsis. We know it came out in the 80s. I don't think that I was like, nothing was thrown at me that I was like, whoa. I was like, yeah, this is what I expected.
There was a moment during this when I thought to myself, has a more perfect film ever been made? This has everything.
It was everything I expected and maybe even a little more.
How many days would you say this takes place over?
To me, it seemed like it took place over like 3.
Yeah, that's the impression I was getting. Do you think this could have been a full-length film?
No. I don't think it should have been as long as it was. No, I'm just kidding. It does blaze through some stuff though. Like we'll have to talk about that in spoilers.
Sure.
But it's fast paced. It moves really quickly.
Yeah. It doesn't waste any time, which is kind of nice.
Which is what we love about short films. They get in, here's the problem, they solve it maybe, and then they get out. Simple as that.
Yeah, and the pacing felt right. There's some movies where you're like, wait, is this the ending? Is it going to end now? When's it going to end? But this one you're like, oh, it's ending soon. Like you feel that.
I thought that in the middle it moved a little fast.
During the montage?
Yeah. During the montage scene in this, I felt like it moved a little fast, and but otherwise, like I said, came in, told me the story, got out. I'm pleased. And we watched it in subtitles, and we all know I notoriously do not like subtitles, and didn't bother me that much, except for I did miss some lines because I was writing stuff down because we get introduced to the characters, and I missed their names quite a bit.
Yeah, and one thing that was confusing in the subtitles is that sometimes they'll use the first name and sometimes they'll use the last name kind of interchangeably. So I was like, wait, was her name that? And they're actually saying somebody else's name. And that confused me a couple of times.
And also, the phone sex operator lady has a phone sex operator pseudonym.
Yeah.
So she has like 3 different names that they're calling her by. I'm just like, who are they talking? Oh, it's her. Oh, okay. And then there's like villains in the movie that I didn't get their names at all until I actually read about because I was like, I need to find out these people's names. So yeah, that was a little bit confusing, but I mean.
And you get the impression everyone's in high school because.
Yeah, everyone is. Everyone is in high school. But we have like 4 main players, I would say. We have the main character, who is a man named Ryo Sagiura. And the phone sex operator woman is named Natsumi Rumi slash Suko, which is her phone sex operator name.
Suko is her pseudonym.
Yeah, nice. There's a Yakuza woman who wears a cheetah striped tank top, which I love. Great fashion choice. It looks like she had some like pleather
pants. Is she in the Yakuza?
That's what the Wikipedia says.
God.
She's well. That explains. There's like a gang in the movie.
Yeah,
as well.
there's a gang in it, and that woman is jacked.
Yeah, she is. She puts me to shame.
Yeah, she puts humanity to shame.
Yeah,
and she also gets called Milady. And I was like, is this like high schooler just getting called Milady?
Well, she's the older sister of the other antagonist of this movie. So the cheetah lady, the Yakuza woman, her name is Maki, and her younger sister, who I would say is the main antagonist here. She vaguely looks like Rogue from the X-Men.
But
name,
the 80s X-Men.
yeah, or 90s X-Men.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't touch her.
Yep.
Her name is Oyuki.
Oyuki.
Mm-hmm. And those are our characters.
She's a conniving jerk.
Yeah, she is.
I don't know. We need to talk about some of her motivations.
Yeah, she's a confused woman. But also, so is the lady with 3 names, Suko. I don't know which one to call her. What should we call her, just to simplify everything?
Natsumi.
Rumi?
I think Natsumi.
Natsumi?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We shall, from now on, call her Natsumi. I'll make a note of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I wrote down Rumi/Suko, but now we're going to call her Natsumi.
I left my notes on the couch.
Ha ha.
May I please be excused?
You're just going to have
to go get my notes.
Remember, it's a half-hour movie.
Yeah, but I wrote specifics down.
Okay, fine. Go get your
yours.
Notes. Go get your notes. I guess I'll just filibuster while you do this. This is what it's like to have a podcast with a co-host, everybody. They sometimes forget their notes. They have to leave the podcast table in the middle of podcasting, and then I'm left here to ramble like a jackass. And she's back. Hey, what's up, everybody? Yeah, Kat has come back. We're all so very proud of her. And stop. We need to really change that applause. That ending and start is so abrupt.
It's really abrupt.
Okay, so we talked about the general plot. We talked about the animation. We talked about the sound, music, basically. Is there anything else to cover in the non-spoiler section?
I would like to say that this never gets into like actual hentai territory, but it's definitely like hentai light.
Yeah.
Like, would you say PG-13, right?
Yeah, there's
PG-13 hentai.
There's visible boobs.
Yeah.
Nipples.
Full lady body.
Yeah, it's not. I know that there's another term for it's like a step down from hentai called like ecchi. Oh. But in ecchi, they don't usually show anything. It's just like implied heavily. And like the women are always wearing,
I'd imply you heavily.
The implication.
Yeah, I see. Yeah.
But yeah, it's the women are always wearing like very low cut tops and very high cut bottoms.
Well, you had a bit of that in this as well.
Yeah. Well, but then there's also nudity.
Yeah.
So it's not hentai, but there is nudity in it.
Yeah. I mean, it goes real close. It just scratches the surface. It's like one of those birds you see in the sky, and then it goes towards the water. It doesn't actually go in the water, but just skimming along it. Yeah. Grabbing some little hentai fish out. That's what this is like.
It's enough to wet your whistle.
Oh, God.
So if you're into that sort of stuff, call me tonight.
Very good.
Get it?
Yeah, very good. Very good.
Nailed it.
Well done.
All right, should we get into spoilers for Call Me Tonight?
Let's spoil this.
They wouldn't spoil this, right? Oh, God. They can't spoil this, right? Don't spoiler talk, anime movie podcast spoiler talk.
Tentacles always spoil a good time, or they make for a very fun movie.
Yeah. That was the one thing that was kind of crazy about this that I didn't understand until the very, very end. Was basically every time Ryo transforms into a demon, it's a different demon. So I was like, what is this?
Yeah, to me, it looked like it was different levels of extremity of demon. But then in the end, we kind of learned that...
it's some kind of like life-absorbing creature?
They call him a collector, and it's kind of this like space age idea that this guy goes around the galaxy and collects creatures from these different worlds, and he has this whole collection, like his own zoo.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they're all within him. Yeah,
because I don't know
if he can like call upon them.
I don't know if they're within him, or if like I don't know if they're within Ryo or if that's a part of Ryo, but it's not a part of Ryo anymore because he asked him to leave, and now it's part of Oyuki. So that was very confusing.
This has a little bit of It Follows going on, that basically there's this kind of monster thing that is sexually transmitted.
Not even transmitted. Like, he just... Do you think that Ryo and Oyuki had sex? Or do you think she was just riding him to arouse him?
I think there was genital contact. I don't know how successful it was.
Yeah, I don't know, because he still had his pants on. I don't know if she got the dick out, because we don't see it.
I feel like we're kind of jumping ahead, but
We're jumping ahead to the very end of the movie.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if they just make it look like his pants are kind of still on so that you don't actually see what's going on.
Yeah, because, I mean, number one...
Because he's horrified by it.
Yeah, I was going to say, at the very least, he's being sexually assaulted.
Yeah, so this is our antagonist.
Yeah, Oyuki.
Sexually assaulting our protagonist.
Our hero.
Our male protagonist.
And, yeah, then he fucking turns into a demon. And she's like, what the hell? It's like, do you know this? You do this. This is why you wanted to fucking bang the guy or arouse him. But I don't think it's sexually transmitted because it would happen to him when he would masturbate or even just if he was aroused by anything.
I guess I got the sexually transmitted thing from the fact that at the end of the movie, we see that she now has it, that she's doing the turning into a demon thing. And they were the only ones who might have had sexual contact.
Yeah, I was going to say, but that's why I asked, do you think they actually had sex?
I'm saying I don't know, but the fact that something kind of happened between them and it was when he was turning into a demon, then it's possible because, you know, I think that that's the only reason why she would have been the next one to kind of get chosen.
I don't think it's sexually transmitted because after that, he was still turning into the monster and then he was like, leave. I think when he was like, leave, the demon like shot out of him and was like, oh, who else is here?
You mean after they didn't have sex?
Yes.
And then he tells it to leave and it just goes, which I thought was funny.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, you didn't think about this before?
So it just kind of happened to choose her, go to her next.
Yeah, maybe.
All right.
Or maybe that was just like a funny button at the end of the movie to be like, heh heh heh, she got hers.
Still a thing. Yeah.
I don't know.
You think she's redeeming herself by getting a job and getting an honest job as a phone sex worker, and yeah, and I thought it was funny too that it means that she got turned on while talking on the phone doing the phone sex stuff.
I know a lady that worked as a phone sex operator.
My dad used to rent space to a phone sex operation.
Look at us. We're experts, kind of.
So, their most popular girl was actually a man.
Really?
Yeah.
The lady that I knew, she was like this really weird actress woman, like very like flower child, hippie, all about the earth and everything and spirituality. And her character was a female bodybuilder that was from Hawaii.
Okay.
And I was like, how did you land
Did you ever
on that?
change that?
I don't think so.
That was her thing every time?
I think so.
Okay.
But I was also like, how did you land on that? Like, what an odd choice. But she was an odd lady.
Okay.
You know anything about your phone sex operator person that your dad rented?
Just that the dude who was very popular, his main thing was to be a cheerleader. Kind of like
Was he a male cheerleader?
18-year-old high schooler. No, a lady. Pretending to be a lady.
All right.
But I guess he knew what guys liked.
I guess he did.
So there you go. So Natsumi Rumi, our main lady, she like owns this co-op.
Yeah.
That's called the Telephone Communications Madonna. And she's also in high school, but she owns this phone sex operation. But again, this is like a classic anime trope of having your main character be like 16 years old and be in high school, but also be like saving the world or fighting witches or fighting demons or doing whatever and being like, but I haven't gotten my homework done, you know? Although we never dive into her school life much. We have one moment with her at the school, and that's really just to set up sort of the next thing that's going to happen. But I think you could almost make a longer movie out of this because it reminded me so much of those teen romances, because you have this setup where she's, they get along. It's like boy meets girl, and then they kind of seem to be a thing, and then she's asked to bring him to a specific place at 4 p.m. or else, and she doesn't tell him, so she's betraying him, and then it's like it just sounds like this high school situation of like they're supposed to go to the prom, but you need to put him into this position or else, otherwise, these water balloons are going to fall on him, and then he's going to be mad, and then you're going to have to go win his heart again, or it felt like that kind of a plot line, but it never goes much deeper. So you don't find out what her school is like, or how the day-to-day runnings of telephone communications Madonna is like.
Yeah, that's the part that I felt like went really fast. Like the montage went really fast, obviously, but their relationship progressed very quickly to like, number one, she was a phone sex operator woman, and she agreed to meet him in person, which I was like, no phone sex operator person does that.
No.
Like, this is some kind of different operation. And the Oyuki calls her a woman, a lady of the night. So maybe she's a prostitute too?
Or like call girl.
Yeah. But I will say that she did not set up Rio, because she was threatened to, hey, you better bring him to, I think that she said bring him to the bar or else.
Yeah, at
and
4 p.m.
And then she didn't do it.
Right.
So then the gang tracks him down and
Right. Yeah, and I knew that, but just like the setup of it is very much like what you get in sort of high school romantic comedies.
Yeah.
So it could have been that. Now, so after we meet Natsumi, Rumi, and you find out that she's the owner of this company, and she gets this call from one of her girls who's like, we've got this guy, he's got a problem. It's a masturbation problem. And it's so much more than that.
Oh boy, is it.
But then we get like his backstory, like his masturbation problem turning into a demon backstory, which I thought was amazing. Like that we see like up top that it's because, he has this moment, he's been masturbating. You get just a shot of the tissues and everything.
You get a nice little look around his apartment of like, here's all of the evidence of masturbation happening.
And him like moaning in the background.
Yeah.
And then you get like the glowing orb in the sky. And you just have this moment being like, oh, so he had just been masturbating, and then I guess something showed up on Earth. And that's as much as you get. And I was just like, this is amazing.
Yeah,
but then when he describes his problem, how does he describe it when he describes his issue at first to Natsumi?
Well, he says basically, he lays it out like very plain. He's like, when I masturbate, I become a monster, and she's kind of
no. It was I see lights and birds.
Birds when I masturbate,
and then my room
gets destroyed.
But he doesn't like say what he actually turns into.
Yeah, and that's why when Natsumi's like, yeah, sure, I'll meet up with you, I'm like, did you not listen to what this guy just said? Like, this guy is basically like, I black out, and when I wake up, everything's destroyed around me. It's like, yeah, let's meet up.
I would assume some level of psychosis.
Yeah, absolutely. Not someone you'd want to hang out with.
Some dissociative disorder.
But his reasoning is like, I just need to talk to somebody about it, and maybe you know what's up. And she's like, okay. He's like, I want to meet you. And she's like, okay. And I was like, what are you doing, lady? Do you meet up with all of your fucking callers? But that was before I figured, like, I didn't know that she was maybe a actual prostitute. But I feel like nothing, I don't know. I don't know what her deal is. What's her deal?
I don't know.
Is she a hooker?
I don't think we're allowed to say hooker or prostitute anymore.
What? We're not? What are they?
Sex workers.
Oh, Jesus. Getting canceled. But learning stuff on the pod.
So we have Maki, who I guess is the Yakuza jacked lady, and her sister. Are they both in the cafe, or is it just Maki in the cafe that witnesses him turning into the demon the first time Natsumi?
I believe it's just Maki.
Okay. So, and she has some kind of like sidekick dude, some little sidekick dude. I don't know who he is.
Yeah, he looked like a little brother, kind of pipsqueaky guy.
Yeah, he hangs around.
Yeah, but
Yeah, so she witnesses it there. And then that's how their like gang gets interested. So that's where we're introduced to her. And then when that happens and it like controls himself again, they go, she's like, come on, we gotta go. And like grabs him by the hand and pulls him into a movie theater, which is like a really old movie trope thing. I can't think of any movies right now where somebody sneaks into a movie to have a conversation with somebody. And there's always somebody else that like tells them to shush.
yeah. Yeah, I can't think of any movie that's does that off the top of my head.
But you recognize it as like a trope, right?
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
happens. And so they're having this like loud conversation about like this problem, but they've gone into some kind of like sci-fi horror softcore hentai film. Because at first I was like, what is the like? Why would you like go to an alley and like talk to each other in quiet voices about this absurd issue? But then it's just to motivate the boner that he gets there and turns into a demon.
Yeah. I didn't understand what her motivations were for like number one meeting up with him, but then they're at the diner together and he shows her, he's like, no, look, my fucking clothes are all torn up. Everything's ruined in my apartment. I'm spending so much money on clothes because of this problem. And she's like, whatever. And she like cozies up next to him, starts like rubbing up against him.
He's like, it's getting expensive to keep buying clothes.
Yeah.
She's like, uh-huh.
Yeah. And she's just like, hey, what's up? Let me slide on next to you. Maybe put my hand between your legs or whatever. And then he turns into a monster and she's like, oh my God. She's like talking about Freud or some shit. and then he's like, no, you don't understand. Like I actually like turn into an insane hulking crazy alien. And then she's like, okay, well, this is maybe a little bit beyond what Freud can help us with. And then he turns back into a human, and then she grabs him, and they run out of the theater, out of the diner. And it's like, why would you go with him anywhere after you saw that?
And he asks her later too, and that's part of
Yeah.
the reason why he has feelings for her is because she didn't run away from him, even though he's a monster, which is kind of that kind of Beauty and the Beast trope
Yeah.
as well. I do really enjoy her montage of
Showing him porn.
yeah, just showing him various things that would turn him on and try and see if she can get him to not turn into a demon, like a
Yeah,
series of tests.
her thing is like, you just gotta get used to it.
Yeah,
and
exposure therapy.
Yeah. She exposes him to a lot. There's a lot of exposing in this movie, baby.
Yeah, so they're always playing with those like, oh, is he gonna get turned on right now? We're gonna show him imagining her in the shower, and she's gonna come out in a towel and be like, "It's because I'm interested in you." He's like, "Interested?" Goes.
Well, that wasn't imagined, was it? That was real.
She was in the shower, but then it cuts to him on the bed and he's looking really nervous, which
Yeah.
made me think that he was imagining her in the shower. I don't think that was exactly his imagination, but the fact that he's thinking about it.
Yeah, I mean, I would be nervous. She's like stole a bum's coat to cover him up because his fucking clothes got all tattered.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny. I did like that all of his clothes are always tattered and fucked up. It was kind of like in the, you know how when the Hulk hulks out and then he turns back into Bruce Banner in the cartoons, his clothes just go back to normal size. But in the movie, like when he turns back into Bruce Banner, he just ends up naked places.
Yeah.
And some guy's like, you're going to need some pants here, buddy. I like that they included that in this. It was very realistic for
Sure.
the most non-realistic movie ever made.
Yeah, I mean, when he turns into a giant demon, you'd think his clothes would be more torn and less on him at all. But still, they thought about it. You know, there's like
they
some
give it
effort.
a go.
that went into that.
Some very holy shirts.
Remind me of the main antagonist rogue girl's name.
Oyuki.
Oyuki. Or is it like Oyuki?
Oyuki.
Oyuki. Okay. What do you think her motivations are for trying to get him somewhere near her?
I have no idea. And all that the plot synopsis says is that she was interested in him. And that's all she really says in the movie. She's like, that's all anyone says about this guy in this movie.
Everybody's
like,
very interested in him.
I'm very interested in you. But it did seem like she wanted to bang a demon. Just maybe she's like one of those people that's like, I'm doing it for the experience. Yeah, I banged a demon. But then when she starts banging the demon, she's like, oh, no, this isn't what I thought. I don't like this at all. You're not a sexy demon.
Yeah, I mean, and what's weird is like Maki and her like crony kid are like snapping photos throughout the montage.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go back and they're like in the bar and they're talking about it. And I guess that's when Oyuki sees the photos and are like,
well, she says that he's pretty hot or whatever,
yeah, he's
right?
attractive. He's like, it turns into a monster. She's like, a monster, huh?
She's like, I gotta suck on that monster cock. Giving a new meaning to monster cock, baby. I'm fucking on fire today.
There was an old Bugs Bunny cartoon where Bugs was pretending he was trying to get away from a monster, but you know how he'll like dress up and be something and to confuse the person into being like, oh, I guess I'm in this situation right now, instead of being a monster. And he starts like doing the monster's nails. And he's just like, so what's it like being a monster?
I said to my girlfriend just the other day, gee, I'll bet monsters are interesting, I said. The places you must go and the things you must see, my stars.
And I just had like visions of that just now. Yeah, I don't get it. Did she think it was a metaphor?
Maybe she thought it was like, oh, this guy's a monster in the bedroom.
Right?
And he's like, literally, I am a monster in the bedroom. It's like, let me go fuck you in a broom closet then.
Yeah,
so she runs out naked like, hey, he wasn't lying. He does turn into a fucking monster. And all of her crony gang members are trying to like rape Natsumi.
Although she's taking them out. She's like, I know how to defend myself. Suddenly has a pipe. Takes a bunch of them out until one of them's like, I catch pipes.
Yeah, until second in command grabs the pipe.
And yeah, I mean,
and
does.
fucking Oyuki's grabbing a pipe in the other room. You know what I'm saying? Oh, fucking God.
It does seem like it's going towards the sexual assault thing. But it's nice that they spare us.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they rip her shirt open.
Yeah, I mean, there's just a sexual assault going on in the other room, but
yeah,
they spared us from 2.
But it doesn't really go further than that. She ends up kind of wearing the Tom Cruise outfit in Risky Business.
Yeah, yeah,
it's just what it comes down to.
Yeah,
and it doesn't go further than that.
She's in like underwear and a blazer.
But so the gang members, led by Oyuki, bring this dude and bring Natsumi up into this building where they're like, this is the perfect place for this kind of thing. We're like, for what?
Yeah.
For the, sexually assaulting a man and that, like, I don't know. But then Maki gets word of this and she's like, oh, hell no. Me and my muscles are heading on my motorcycle with my laser bazooka, whatever. What did she have?
I have no idea.
It looked like she was carrying a yoga mat for a second because it just had like the straps and like a cylinder.
It did look like a yoga mat, and like they're like, you better not fucking bring that. You get into Warrior 2, you fucking kill that motherfucker. But I wanted to know what her motivations were.
Yeah, because basically, somebody comes and tells her, like, oh, Yuki's acting a fool right now. And she's like, I'm getting the laser bazooka.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't understand, like, because she was following Ryo and Natsumi around taking pictures. Like, did they think that they could get him to, like, fight for the Yakuza or something?
I don't know. I think they were just trying to get evidence of it, just to be like, this thing's really happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
but there was
she's
no.
like, oh, I know my sister. She wants to bang a monster, so I gotta go fucking bring my bazooka out over here.
Maybe we'd have to watch that bar scene again with Maki and Oyuki to figure out what's going on with them.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it doesn't really go that much further than Oyuki wants to bang him. Natsumi was curious. I mean, if you heard that a guy turns into a monster in, like, say, in real life, and he was a cutie, you'd be a little curious, wouldn't you?
How cute.
I don't know. I feel like I'd be curious if a lady was like, this lady, she turns into a demon dude. I'd be like, how bad could it be? Like, she's pretty fucking banging. And then you go, and then, it's not what I expected.
I think I'd feel very vulnerable. I'd feel like I'd get hurt. I mean, I just think that it doesn't matter how hot somebody is if they become somebody who can hurt you.
I guess if, like, I found out that the woman from Wicked City, the spider lady, if she existed, I probably wouldn't do it. Because
Their vagina has teeth.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it. But their thing was, like, they wanted to attack and, like, chop off dicks. We don't know what the monster wants to do. He wants to collect people, but it also is like, does he want to bang them?
To be honest, he just seems to like to roar.
Yeah, he didn't really attack anybody.
I guess, you could metaphorically think of it like a boner.
Yeah.
That's not going anywhere or doing anything, but you just have it.
Okay.
Go
on.
You're like, well, I'm in a public place. Like, I can't, like, masturbate. I'm not going to have sex right now. So my penis is just roaring right now. It's just stood up and roared. And it's roaring
just making everybody uncomfortable.
Just roaring into the void. That's what he does. He just, like, gets bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does.
Stands erect.
Yeah.
Roars and goes back down eventually.
Yeah.
And if it lasts for more than 4 hours, call your doctor.
Cat got one in.
Thanks.
Because he doesn't attack anybody. Is this the most harmless monster ever?
Possibly. Although maybe he's able to control it quickly enough that it's not able to do something, because it never seems to last a super long time until he's actually getting, like, rubbed up on by a naked lady.
Yeah. Well, then also Natsumi gives him a necklace that's like, hey, you can keep this as a token of our relationship, whatever it is.
Our training.
Yeah, between phone sex operator and monster cock guy. And he uses that as, like, a totem to bring him back to sanity when he's turning into a monster.
Yeah, I thought that was nice.
Yeah, which plays in heavily into the ending where, he's been, like, so turned on by Oyuki rubbing up against his dick for a little bit and she's naked. And then it's like Natsumi is a little jealous that he was so turned on by her. She's like, you big idiot, fucking calm yourself down, and throws the necklace at him. And he's like, oh, you're right, I shouldn't. And it turns,
I'd written that down, that she insults him back to his senses.
Yeah. She's like, oh, you mother. It's like, that's all it took. And then he has, like, a heart to heart with the demon. He's like, you should leave. And then the demon's like, okay. It's like,
I didn't think it was a heart to heart. I thought he was more like, leave.
Yeah, I'm joking.
They have a glass of iced Earl Grey.
Yeah.
Just what Natsumi has in the cafe.
Yeah. And then he's like, dude, you're kind of fucking up my swag here.
Yeah.
I think this chick might be into me if it wasn't for you. And he's like, that chick's only interested because of me. And he's like, yeah, maybe. But now she sees the real me and she wants a regular human wiener.
See? Teen rom-com.
Yeah. And then the demon's like, okay, well, I'll go test out a vag for a real short amount of time. That's when he hops over to Oyuki.
The idea of a collector is creepy though. Like,
Oh yeah.
and I'm sure I've seen that in a sci-fi thing somewhere, and I
Yeah,
can't
it's in
remember where.
Guardians of the Galaxy, the collector.
But he doesn't collect
Oh yeah. He does.
creatures, does he?
Yeah, he's got Howard the Duck in a glass case.
Howard the Duck.
Yes.
I'm not saying I don't believe you.
Yeah, in his, I guess, Museum of Oddities or whatever, he's got different species of. He's got Howard the Duck in there for sure. I think that he has a guy named Adam Warlock, maybe, and he also has the like that purple woman that's his assistant in a cage. I think at some point too. But yeah, he's got a bunch of people collected and rare species and shit.
Is it mainly like biological things, or does he have objects as well?
I think he
remember.
collects it all
Collects it all.
because he did have the Infinity Stone.
Right.
Spoilers for Guardians of the Galaxy, everyone. We're in the spoiler section. We're way off topic.
Yeah, I knew that it was familiar, and I couldn't remember where it was from, but still kind of a creepy idea.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how, we don't find out if he's got a ship somewhere, if he goes back to the ship, if he hangs out in a place and he's just going to keep trying to collect.
Yeah, even in a real world example, he's like a zoo.
Yeah.
A zoo of species from across the universe.
Like a traveling zoo. I was about to be like, like a non-consensual zoo. And then I was like, Catherine, all zoos are non-consensual zoos. And then I got a little sad.
Yeah.
Should have been the sad trombone.
Nope.
Why?
Nope.
Except for, animals born in the zoo. They don't know what it's
They don't
like.
know. It's the allegory of the cave for them.
Yeah.
They don't get it.
So with this totem that he's got, there's a nice, couple of moments where he like holds it to bring him back, or he's holding it and it's not helping, he just goes into it. And then he gets so mad when when he comes out and sees her undressed. And I don't know if it's because he thinks that she was willingly undressing herself. But then his like neck expands and the necklace breaks.
Yeah.
It goes bing off into the distance.
I think it was just that he was so aroused because he was just getting rubbed up on, and then he comes outside and he sees Natsumi all undressed. He's like, this is my lucky day. All these babes.
I read it as anger.
Well, it wouldn't make sense. I feel like it was arousal because it wouldn't make sense for the monster to expand like a dick if he's angry.
Okay.
It'll only expand if he's even more aroused,
Right.
That's how I read it.
Okay. Rage boner.
A mix of both.
Yeah.
We found a middle ground, everyone.
But I thought it was just a nice detail.
Yeah.
It was brought up and then called back on and paid off enough times.
Yeah, Chekhov's gun. They fucking did it in this movie. I did not think that the necklace was very nice. It just looked like a piece of like shard of glass on a rope.
Yeah, some kind of crystal,
Yeah,
but not like sparkly crystal. It was a shape on a string.
yeah. But it was nice. Aside from understanding certain characters' motivations, which we may have missed because we were taking notes or didn't read the subtitle,
Or they don't exist.
I was gonna say, aside from that, like everything gets paid off, and a nice little button at the end,
Honestly.
tied up in a nice little bow. The only thing that confuses me is everything about it.
I see.
No, the character motivations, and then also a little bit of how does the monster work? Because if you brought up like he got bigger when he was pissed off, then that doesn't jive with the whole arousal thing.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's like it's triggered by the arousal, but then he's there now, especially because like so many other things happen. I don't think he continued to be super turned on when he got shot with the bazooka. I don't think he fell out of the building, got increasingly turned on by that, and then came back
he's like,
even
"Fucking
bigger.
shoot me with that bazooka again, baby. Fucking love that."
So I think the getting turned on thing was triggering it, but I think then when he got angry, then more demon stuff kind of happened.
Yeah.
But and there's a lot of humor. Like there's a lot of good moments of humor and moments of suspense, because, you have that moment in the movie theater where you're watching him and then you realize, oh, this space movie just had tits in it. Oh, this is what's going to happen. It's going to happen here again.
Yeah.
And
Gonna Pee Wee Herman in this bitch.
oh God, it's my deepest fear. And then, at the end, he's like, I'm good. And she's like, are you sure? Just like opens up her shirt and he just gets a nosebleed, and she's like, all right,
Good.
all right, you passed the test.
Now we gotta work on that nosebleed arousal monster.
And then they laugh for ages.
Dude, some of the laughing in this is a little wild.
Excessive, excessive. And it's that, 80s or 90s end of movie. Like they just keep laughing.
It also sounded like it was just like a 2-second laugh that they kind of just looped.
Yeah.
For like 16 seconds.
Yeah. Just, and then you're panning across like the cityscape.
Yeah.
With that as the, and then we come back to the beginning again, which actually confused me because we were watching it on YouTube and because it's very hard to find elsewhere. And I was like, did the video restart? And then you were like, no, I think it's like a callback to the beginning.
Yeah.
Although one of the slight differences between the two is that in the beginning, one of the first women you hear speaking on the phone says, oh, you're a junior high student. I was like, junior high? She can entertain that?
Yeah.
How young?
Maybe
can you be
junior
when you call
high,
these?
Maybe junior high is different in Japan or something. I don't understand their high school structure.
Sure.
Especially because all I know from it is from anime, and in anime, it makes it seem like the student government controls the school. It's like, dude, I was on student government. We didn't really even get much choice in like where our prom location was going to be.
Yeah.
Like, in anime, being on the student council makes you decide like whether or not you have homework or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think you have to be 18 here to call a sex line.
Well, can you? Well, I guess you have to have a credit
card details.
Yeah.
I'm sure people can get by.
Yeah.
You don't have to like send them a picture of your ID and your face or anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I guess the only thing that falls apart for me in this film, what a ridiculous thing to say.
Please enlighten me.
Yeah.
The only thing that falls apart in Call Me Tonight.
It's just, how are Oyuki and Maki and Natsumi and Ryo just buddies after this experience?
No idea.
We don't see an apology to be like, I'm so sorry for trying to have forced sex with you and making you turn into a demon.
Attempting to rape you. No charges. No harm, no foul. Thank you. Hey,
and then Maki's like, I'm sorry I shot you with this laser bazooka.
Yeah, sorry I shot you with this laser bazooka. You think your girlfriend could give my sister a job, though? At the phone sex place? And she's like, yeah.
Like, there's a scene that was missing, you know what I mean? Between the end of that horrific final, events and scenes and whatever, and them being buddies, Oyuki working at the phone sex place, and Maki laughing it up on the sidewalk with, Ryu and Natsumi.
And also Yuki being the monster now.
Yeah, and then we get that hinted at, and then we again get like a loop of laugh tracks from everybody down on the sidewalk.
Yeah, I kind of took that as kind of like a rom-com thing too, of like it all worked out for everybody, and now that everybody's better for it.
Yeah.
But usually, like in rom-coms, the bad guys are like, and they went to jail for kicking a dog, like something random that you don't see on screen. But I don't know. I kind of like this ending better, where it's like everybody's friends now.
Yeah, I just would have liked to have seen how that happened.
Yeah,
a montage of friendship,
Yeah, maybe this was like a test for a full length feature of this. Maybe he would have like expanded it a little more, but they saw it and they were like, I think we're good on this 30-minute one.
Or maybe he did
You
like,
nailed it perfect. You don't need to expand this at all.
or maybe he did like an actual hentai off of it.
Maybe.
Possibly.
Look out for that on the Patreon Anime Hentai podcast.
Do you think the ending hints at a sequel?
Call me
Call me
tomorrow.
tomorrow night.
It could. I feel like it'd be pretty repetitive just with a lady.
Yeah, although they already kind of know what's going on, but then how would they stop it? How'd they stop it in the first place?
I don't know. He asked him to
Just
leave.
gonna keep going?
Hey, all you gotta do is ask this. This demon's pretty accommodating. You ask it to leave, and he's like, "Fine." You just have to ask sternly. It's like, "I'm a collector, and I collect beings. Just get out." Okay. All right.
It seems to me like he has this moment where he's switching back and forth between the collector and himself, and it's like the collector goes, "Wait, I remember my memories. I am a collector." Like he got lost. Like he got lost in this boy's body and only got awakened when he was aroused. It was weird.
Yeah, I was a little confused at that part too because I was like, "Is Ryo the collector?" But then he's not because the collector leaves him.
Yeah, and I started to notice that there was a change in the voice when it went back and forth.
Otherwise, a perfect movie. Otherwise, aside from those
I just started
insane,
slamming my head into the mic.
aside from those insane plot holes and lack of character motivations, perfect.
And you know what? The plot holes aren't even that big.
They're not. I mean, like I said, they tie everything up pretty soundly.
I say I'm impressed.
Yeah. I wasn't like this could be a thing of like low expectations where I was like, I don't think this is going to be anything. And then I was like, I'm pleasantly surprised.
It was really fun. I'd watch it again. I'd show somebody and be like, I've got a ridiculous movie to show you. Don't worry, it's only 29 minutes.
Yeah. Real easy, in and out.
Yeah.
Like the monster cock.
I saw it coming. Oh no.
Okay, on that note, you want to crank your amp?
Yeah. For crank your amp.
Cranking it.
I see. Sure. You want me to go first?
Yes, you go. I did the intro. You go first on the amp cranking.
Okay. I'm gonna give it an 8. I'm giving Call Me Tonight an 8. I mean 1986.
Yeah.
There's some things you just can't blame it for.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's kind of a clever idea. It's a clever, funny, sexy idea, and I kind of enjoy the mixing of comedy and horror together. And just seeing new ways that they think of to try and turn this man on is entertaining. It's an entertaining movie.
I agree with you, and I have been thinking an 8 out of 11 the whole time as well. So I'm going to go 8 out of 11 too. I thought it was a lot of fun. Like I said, comes in, pulls out, tells its story, and leaves. You know, what more can you want? Aside from character motivations and
Hits it and quits it and all
yeah,
that.
yeah. I mean, it was enjoyable. We gotta do some more short films. I really enjoy the short films that we do. Like they also don't take as much time.
Mm-hmm.
They usually have a pretty concise and complete story, and wrap up everything pretty succinctly.
There's a couple more anthologies that we can do. So
Yeah. I mean, we did write down a whole list of anime short movies, so be on the lookout for some more of those. And then also look out for the Anime Hentai podcast on Patreon or OnlyFans or whatever. If you really want that to be a thing, let us know. Send an email at theanimemoviepodcast@gmail.com or slide into our DMs at the Anime Movie Podcast on Instagram.
I think it would be funny. I just can't imagine those reviews being sexy.
We can still review it. I mean,
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know,
I just wonder if somebody's going to be like, this is what I want for a sexy good time.
it's a fun, good time.
It's a fun good time.
For more fun, good times, rate and review our podcast. That's a really fun and good time. rate and review it on Apple Podcasts. And what's even more fun is if you subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're doing video podcasts every once in a while now. And we always have clips going up, and we put the whole episodes of the podcast on there. The YouTube channel, it's getting fucking big, people. All right? You want to be subscribed to that. We're blowing up. You want to be in the ground level of the anime movie podcast before we branch out to the anime hentai podcast. And we're number one on OnlyFans, top 0.01% on OnlyFans. And you want to say, like, I knew him back when.
Yeah. And the YouTube channel's got tons of content.
Oh yeah, it'll keep you entertained for days. So yeah, those are all the plugs. Thank you for listening to our episode on Call Me Tonight. Adios.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Anime Movie Podcast. You can follow us on Instagram at the Anime Movie Podcast, and you can reach out via email at theanimemoviepodcast@gmail.com. Please subscribe, rate, and review, and tell a friend. Thanks. Have a good one. Bye.